Welcome back to Berks One-on-One. Today's episode is going to be covering the 17th annual Famous Ladies Tea, hosted by the Berks County chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution. This event was held on Sunday, April 19th from 1:45 to 5 o'clock p.m. at the Doubletree Hotel in Reading, and is also celebrating America's 250th anniversary. I got to speak with several of the speakers of the event, as well as some of the Daughters of the American Revolution themselves, to share their opinions and experiences with the organization and the history behind their characters.
My name is Hallie Vaughn, and I'm in the Daughters of the American Revolution, the D.A.R. I've been in the D.A.R. for almost 50 years. My mother was in, and I joined the Berks County Society, Daughters of the American Revolution, back in 1976. Since then, I've been on the executive committee. I've been regent 3 times. I've done almost every executive position except treasurer, and I really enjoyed my time with the D.A.R. We got involved with a scholarship called the Good Citizen Scholarship, and our Famous Ladies Tea, which we are here today and involved with. The proceeds from the Famous Ladies Tea go to our Good Citizen Scholarship and our other charities that we do. This is our 17th year, I believe, and each year we have 7 women who portray a different woman from throughout history. And this year, for the 250th anniversary of our country, each of the 7 women are portraying women from the Revolutionary War era. The Daughters of the American Revolution is a group of women who can trace their ancestry back to someone who fought in the Revolution or served in some other manner, whether it was contributing food, contributing money. You have to be able to document that ancestry. And then we have a national society, we have a state society, and then we have the individual societies from the different counties. Ours is Berks County D.A.R. We help with veterans things, we help with naturalizing citizens, we do all kinds of things to help the community look better. We do our scholarships. We go into schools and talk to students about American history, and we're really a service organization.
I'm Kristen Olmsted. I'm State Vice Regent for the Pennsylvania State Society of Daughters of the American Revolution, and we're thrilled to be here today to celebrate with the Berks County chapter at the Famous Ladies Tea.
I'm Beth Watkins. I'm Honorary State Regent of Pennsylvania and past Vice President General, and love coming to this tea every year. It's a great time, so much fun. And the ladies that do the research for the famous ladies do an outstanding job, so looking forward to a fun day.
I'm Karen Kristen. I'm the current regent for Great Valley Chapter. And as Beth said, this is a fun event. We love coming to it every year.
I'm Sarah Jane McCurdy, past state officer, currently state exhibit chair for our state conference, which is coming up in King of Prussia next at one of your hotels next week, and I'm almost a 50-year member.
My mother joined me. She wanted her personal pages to be her daughters, and she was going to be regent of her chapter. And she gave me a piece of paper and said, "Get this notarized and give it back." And I did, and the rest is history.
Similar story. So my mother was a member of D.A.R. and the chapter needed a new junior member, which is a woman who is under the age of 35. I was 32, and so she gave me an application and said, "Sign here."
So I didn't join with my mother. My grandfather had done all the research for our lineage. He passed when I was 5 years old, so I didn't really get a chance to talk to him about it. When I found his paperwork, I decided I needed to do something with it, and so I joined the D.A.R.
My story is very similar. My grandfather was in S.A.R. was a genealogist. He passed before I was even born, but I joined to honor him.
The woman that I am going to portray is Nancy Morgan Hart. Nancy was a bit of a wild child, loose character. She did a lot of things, and including fighting as a man in the Battle of Kettle Creek, and she was great with a rifle, and she outsmarted the Tories many times where they lived, which mostly was in the Broad River settlement in Georgia.
Don't worry none about this here firearm, unless you're a gall dirt redcoat. You got nothing to worry about. So saying done, I'll go on.
So we are so happy that we are here today and able to do this for all the ladies of Berks County and gentlemen too, because we get a lot of them.
My name is Luann Curry Reese. I am a friend of Hallie Vaughn, a member of the D.A.R, which is how I got involved with this. I am portraying a woman named Mary Catherine Goddard. Mary Catherine was the printer of the official copy of the Declaration of Independence, where all the signers' names were listed. And she was the printer, so she printed at the bottom, printed in Baltimore by Mary Catherine Goddard. So my name is the only female name on the official copy of the Declaration of Independence.
My goodness, I've never had so many people come to my stationery shop. Belinda, we don't need any tea. I believe they already have their tea. Besides that, I think they're here to hear about me. My name is Mary Catherine Goddard. I was born in Connecticut in 1738, when Connecticut was a colony under the British rule. My mother believed that I should be educated as my brother was. My father was a postmaster, mother was a homemaker, but she taught us both classic literature, Latin, and ancient history. And I realized that knowledge is power. William, who was a few years younger than I, was apprenticed as a printer. He left home. Shortly after my father died, Mother and I moved to Providence, Rhode Island, where William later joined us and used our family money to begin a printing press. Well, William found that it was more fun to hang out with his friends than to run the printing press. So at the age of 24, I learned the printing business.
I think it's people need to recognize that women were involved. Like I ran the newspapers. They were my brother's newspapers, but I ran them under my initials, M.K. Goddard, because he was more interested in having influential friends and in politics, but I did all the grunt work. At the age of 24, I learned how to run a printing press and print the paper. And I think a lot of women had to take over roles that were traditionally male roles because they had to do it. I've presented for quite a few years, just portraying different women. Because this woman there was very little written about her. I read everything that I could find online, and then I finally thought, since I'm an elementary school teacher, I wonder if there's a book about her. So I found a children's book, which is perfect because it gave me a lot of the background that other information didn't have. And then as I read the book, and then I would think, well, why did the Continental Congress move to Baltimore in the winter? So then I did more research to fill in little things and like find out how printing presses were run. So I use a lot of different sources.
My name is, in fact, Ann Wood Henry. I was born on the 21st of January, 1731, in Burlington, New Jersey. When I was quite young, my mother ended up remarrying, and my stepfather moved our family to Lancaster County. This is where I would spend the rest of my days. While in Lancaster, friends introduced me to an inventor and gunsmith, William Henry. and we were married in 1755. We were a well-matched pair, two intelligent, driven, hard-working people who were joined together in a holy partnership, which was a blessing as together we endured the loss of 6 children in infancy, 2 who passed before their 3rd birthday. Thanks be to God, we were blessed with 6 healthy children who lived to adulthood.
Hi, my name's Kat Turner, and I'm portraying Anne Wood Henry. She was the first woman to be elected to an elected position in Pennsylvania. She was the treasurer of Lancaster County. I've been participating in most of the Famous Ladies' Tea since the very first one. So I actually found out about Anne from one of the historic mile markers on King Street in downtown Lancaster, because Thomas Paine wrote some of his best work in her house, and I was curious to know about the woman who was running the house. There was a really amazing master's thesis about women in Lancaster County during the Revolution and then up to the antebellum period. That was incredibly helpful in contextualizing everything that was going on in Anne's world. A lot of times when we talk about the Revolution, obviously we talk about the Founding Fathers, but the Founding Fathers couldn't have done everything they did if the women at home weren't keeping everything afloat. I mean, if Anne's husband didn't have her, he would have lost his gun business during the war, and he would have come home to nothing. She kept the business afloat.
My name is Michelle Lynch, and the character I'm portraying is Elizabeth Sandwith Drinker, who was a Quaker woman who lived in Philadelphia during the British occupation of Philadelphia in 1777 and 1778. And Quakers were pacifists, so they did not believe in war or fighting, and they didn't believe in taking any oaths. They felt that their word should stand alone. And so during the war, they stayed neutral. They did not pick sides. But because of that, they were persecuted basically by both sides, by the British and by the Patriots. And because her husband refused to take the oath of loyalty to the new American government, along with several other leading Quakers of Philadelphia, they were imprisoned from the beginning of September of 1777 until almost the end of April 1778. And really the only reason that they were released was because Elizabeth Drinker and 3 of the other wives went to Valley Forge and petitioned directly to George Washington, explaining that their husbands had not committed any crime. They hadn't taken any arms against the new government. Their only offense was in refusing to take the loyalty oath on religious grounds. And at first Washington said he couldn't do anything about it, but very soon after their visit to him, the husbands were released. So he probably did use a little influence there to get them released. But 2 of them died while they were being held in confinement in Virginia. And while her husband was away, she was left on her own, basically, to manage the household. And there was trouble with British soldiers who would come to the house looting, and they burned a lot of buildings, and she was afraid to go to bed at night, she wrote in her diary. I have been doing this for 10 years now. I skipped 1 year when my mother was very sick, but I honestly don't remember who recruited me. I think it was Vicki Hefner, who is very involved, who's a good friend, who's very involved in the D.A.R, but I'm not in the D.A.R. I do have some Patriot ancestors, and if I ever took the time to assemble my proofs and get it together, I would probably be accepted, but that'll have to wait till I'm retired. I love the digital world, so there's so much resources and primary resources even available online now. So I was able to find not her entire diary online, but excerpts from her diary online. And so I was able to read. I confess I did not read the whole thing. I read the portions of it concerning the years that I'm dealing with for my reenactment today. And then I also read a book about well, there were 21 men arrested totally. 17 of them were Quaker men, and the others were Anglican loyalists. So they really were not neutral. The Quakers were neutral, but a lot of Anglicans, they believed that the king was the head of their church. So on religious grounds, they were loyalists. So, but anyway, I read a book about the 21 men who were arrested and taken to Virginia and confined, and they suffered a lot of hardships. They were confined in various places, taken on this very long and roundabout route to Virginia. Two of them died. Two of the Quakers died while they were in captivity, and so yeah, they all their a lot of them were merchants. They were members of the merchant class, and their goods were seized. Their businesses were pretty much liquidated, and all their goods were seized and by the American government, and they went through a lot, and a lot of them never really got back their possessions. Even sometimes their lands were taken and sold, and the money helped to finance the revolution, the Patriots' cause.
Okay, my name is Carol Toomey, and I am portraying Martha Washington. And as everyone knows, she was the very first of the First Ladies, and even though she may not have liked the public duties that she had to take upon, she did it with grace and dignity for the love of her husband, George Washington, and also for the love of her country, the new country at the time. I got involved with famous First Ladies several years ago, at least 5 years ago, I think, and I've enjoyed it because I've had the opportunity to portray entertainers and also some historical figures. So I look forward to this. I always enjoy it. I enjoy the idea of a tea and meeting other famous ladies as I hear their stories.
In an age when women had few legal rights, I became one of the wealthiest women in Virginia. I was understandably very wary of fortune hunter suitors. It was at a neighbor's dinner party in 1758 that I met an ambitious military officer named George Washington, very tall at 6 feet, compared to my 5-foot stature. He was 8 months younger than I, but our connection was immediate. George admired my intelligence and poise, and I saw in him a man of integrity and vision.
Of course, I knew something. Everyone knows that Martha Washington was the first Lady, but I literally read books and went online and researched what I could. There was a lot of information, but yet not a lot, because of course there wasn't really accurate records kept at that time, and pictures were more portraits, oil paintings instead of photographs. So I relied on those few things and put together my 10 minutes for this afternoon. Certainly there's online advertisements as far as coming to the tea, and you have to get your tickets early because I understand they get sold out rather quickly because all the women and men who come love it and keep coming back year after year, as many of the famous First Ladies do too. So I would encourage everyone who's interested to, as soon as you can find it, or else just go to the website. Thank you.
My name is Barbara Yorks, and I'm portraying Abigail Adams. My character was married to the second president of the United States, and although she wasn't officially elected to office, she and her husband had a really close relationship, and they talked a lot about politics and things of concern to the new nation. And so she had an encouraging influence on his presidency.
And they were trying to establish some principles for the new nation. So I told him 3 words: remember the ladies. I said to him, if you create laws where women have no voice and no representation, you'll have no adherence to those laws. A woman is not going to want to do something that she had no opportunity to be part of. My husband loved me. My husband respected my opinion. My husband thought it was crazy that I suggest such a thing, and sadly, on this matter, he didn't take my advice. And so women went a while longer before they got some of the representation and the voice we definitely deserved.
Years ago, a friend mentioned about the Famous Ladies' Tea, and I attended as a guest and just found it to be a wonderful experience. And I've done a number of first-person narratives, and I enjoy getting to know different characters. And so I asked if there was ever a spot, if they would ever need an additional famous lady. So I think it's been 7 or 8 years, and except for COVID, I've portrayed a variety of women over the years. Well, I also, in this case, it depends on who the lady is. But in this case, I teach a class on First Ladies for lifelong learning at Bucknell University. And so I try to read a lot of different books written on the First Ladies. And Abigail is found pretty easily in literature and history books, and also there are a number of good programs on the History Channel that talk about her life. So there are a lot of avenues to explore more about her.
It's changed, I think, for the better. We are a little more inclusive now, and we have become more a service-oriented group. A lot of times when you mention D.A.R., people think about tea parties and sitting around sipping tea, but we are really out there in the community and helping to beautify things, to clean up things, to help our veterans, and all kinds of service things, especially in the schools and for women.
With digital and affecting everything, just recently our award-winning American Spirit magazine has gone totally digital. We're not getting hard copies, obviously not getting hard copies anymore. Continental Congress is our annual business meeting held in DC, is all registered online, and ladies are embracing technology of the 21st century. Admittedly, it took us a while to get in there, but we're grabbing it and going with it. We're more diverse too.
Yeah, well, and I would say that you frequently hear in D.A.R. they use the term today's D.A.R. And our organization has always been a woman's service organization, but service has really been pulled front and center, and we track our hours, our hours that we give to philanthropy and volunteer hours and those kind of things, because all the way back to Eugenia Washington, one of our founders, they wanted a society based on service. And so that's really, really a huge focus of our mission today.
I would say the digital age has helped all of the chapters and even the states to work together better, share ideas and collaborate more than we did years ago.
Well, our organization is built on 3 pillars of education, historic preservation, and service to veterans. And I would have to say this year we've been doing a lot of historic preservation in the sense that because it's our 250th anniversary, we've been placing plaques on historic sites throughout the state. As a matter of fact, yesterday we were in Philadelphia and we dedicated a plaque to Gouverneur Morris, who was the penman of the Constitution, and we placed it in front of where the boarding house had been, where he and several other of the signers resided during that time.
Just by coming to our Famous Ladies Tea each year, they're helping to donate to our chapters and to donate to our scholarships, and they're very welcome to come to anything we're involved with, like Memorial Day and Veterans Day ceremonies at City Park. Just, being supportive and coming out to our events.
You have to have a linear bloodline descendant to a patriot ancestor to be part of D.A.R. And one of the things that, following on Karen's, the digital age has really helped us genealogists do research to help more women become D.A.R. members. If you have a bloodline, think you have a patriot ancestor, you can reach out to your local chapter who has a registrar who's dying to help them become members. And just start with your birth certificates and go back to your patriot ancestor one generation at a time. And if we can prove them, we'll get you in.
We have a pretty excellent national website, and it's open. The website is available to the public. And if somebody's interested in joining the D.A.R., probably the best way is to go to the membership page of the national website. You can put all of your information in there. That information that gets funneled to the closest chapter where you reside, and then that chapter jumps on the inquiry, contacts the person, and the genealogists associated with that chapter then work to get the person go from being a prospective, interested person into being a member of D.A.R.
So along those lines, I would say what I would like to tell people is that the nice thing I've found about D.A.R. is the fact that you can be as little involved or as much involved as you would like. It's really a great opportunity to be active in your community as your life allows you to. So, if you're a stay-at-home mom or you're a retiree and you want to get into it full speed ahead, we've got plenty of stuff for you. If you're a working parent or just a working person, you still can participate. It's all about what your life allows you to do.
That's very true. Also, it gives us a way to continue our heritage and learn more about our ancestors. We try to, if we have someone join who has daughters, we try to encourage them, so it's kind of a package deal and it makes it a lot easier. I have to say, one of the wonderful things about our organization is I've met so many terrific people. These 3 ladies, for example, who I would have never known otherwise. So you make lifelong friendships.
That's right.
So it's not just a club.
Well, on July the 4th, we always march in the Why Missing 4th of July parade, so we will be doing that. We've been doing different things for the 250th anniversary of our country. I've been doing some programs for children and for grown-ups about forgotten women of the Revolution. We have our Flag Day luncheon that we always do in June for Flag Day. So we have a lot of those kinds of things.
And we have represented 3 different chapters from across the state right here: Valley Forge, Great Valley, and Cumberland County. We have 94 chapters in the state of Pennsylvania, each one close to a prospective member. And the operative word that Beth said was jump. As soon as someone expresses interest, we are more than happy to help them. And we have a crew of volunteers, not just the chapter registrar, but we have many volunteers to do the help with the research to help grow our membership. And it's just a wonderful organization of intelligent, dynamic, diverse ladies. And we'd encourage anybody who's interested to join.
Thank you guys for watching. For more information about the Daughters of the American Revolution, be sure to check out the links in the description below. And be sure to subscribe to keep up to date with my future video uploads, as well as following me on my socials linked below to keep up to date with other events that I may be visiting in the future. Until next time, this has been Berks 101, signing off.